The Trans-Atlantic Trade and Investment Partnership is an ambitious, comprehensive and high-standard trade agreement being negotiated between the EU and the US. It's hoped that it will bring both jobs and growth to Europe. We asked some of the participants why they think TTIP is such a bad idea.
We fight all injustice. We fight all injustice, and TTIP is one of them.
You're fighting something that hasn't actually been agreed yet. Shouldn't you wait until the negotiations are over?
No, because there's more happening behind the screens that we know about. And they are already much further than they want to show us. They're hiding a lot for the public, but we know that.
It's a negotiation procedure. Normally, negotiators do maintain some secrecy. There's been a lot of involvement of stakeholders groups. Are you impressed by this initiative to involve NGOs, consumer groups, environmental groups in the discussions?
Yes, because those people feel what's going wrong. They're just trying to trick us again just for dollars, and we don't want to agree.
And what about the economic opportunity, jobs, growth? Europe is in the doldrums. Surely this would help the EU, an agreement with the US.
It's just a trick, like promising work, cutting down the forest, and then doing nothing.
What is your main concern about TTIP?
The main concern is the fact that the negotiations are very well hidden. It's a big dossier. Even people in European Parliament get difficult access. So why is it hidden? Probably because it's not so transparent, and so what's happening there? That's the first thing. And then there are a lot of more left-wing people who have studied it, and you see that I think the main objective is, they say it will make growth. We can ask if growth is so good for our planet also, and besides that, which growth? Like, we want our partners in the southern countries to grow, but in a different way, in a way that is respectful for nature, respectful for human conditions. It seems like TTIP, for me, what we get from information, that it is mainly a big playground for multinationals. So, less rules, trade will do it on themselves, but what will happen? The big ones were already big, they will become bigger. Maybe European politicians, they think about growth, and it will make more employment. But also that in studies, they say it will be maybe 1% in 2027. And for which the growth will be? For the multinationals, who will afterwards, every time they decide, okay, it's too expensive to work here, to manufacture here, we go to another country. So a growth in that system, it's not good at all.
You're from the Workers' Party of Belgium. You want an immediate stop to negotiations. Why not wait until the negotiations have been completed and then take a decision?
Well, I think that people know that treaties that are negotiated in the most secret way are not very good for them. And we know what kind of treaties are signed because we know about treaties that have been signed before with the same principles. And I think that for Europeans, this treaty will be a breakdown of their rights on healthcare, on public healthcare, but also on working conditions and about health and nutrition conditions. And so being in competition with more workers is not something that is good for workers. The only ones who will lose in this game is the workers themselves and people all over, because they will now not be able to stop like conditions that their chicken is not being washed with chloride solutions, or that their public sector will not be protected against the market's principles and market logic. And so I think Europeans know what's already behind the principles and should reject. And
food security standards, just as one of the examples of an area that could be diluted. But the European Commission, President Jean-Claude Juncker, the Commissioner for Trade, have issued assurances that European standards for public health, for consumers, for workers, will be maintained under any final agreement?
Why then all this secrecy? And it's the same logic. How can he say and make guarantees while the essence of these treaties all along the world, all over the world, is exactly the opposite? It's breaking down norms. The essence is that for American goods and products to enter in Europe. So how can he give a guarantee that the essence is to get the European market accessible for American goods that are being produced on American norms and not European norms? He's making guarantees that I know for sure within 1, 2, 3 years will be proven false.
The EU 28 want an agreement that is in their interest, that allows them to sell their goods, their service to the America. It's not just one-sided. Can you really say that this is a one-sided deal?
The problem is not that there is a conflict on interest between Europe or America. The conflict is between workers and multinationals, between Europeans and multinationals. Because in Europe, of course, the European multinationals, they also want a bigger market, like the American multinationals want a bigger market. But people, they want safe food, they want public insurance, public services, they want ecological norms and standards that are respected. And if it means that through these kinds of treaties, these norms, what the society decides, are being attacked in private courts, then I think that the conflict is not between Europe and America, but between European and American multinationals against the will and what the needs and the rights of American and European civilians.